Hi, everybody. Uh, Today, I'm planning to discuss some key areas of how the manufacturing is really having a direct connect with the scalability factors. How to achieve the scalability, that is another important thing which we must understand, particularly to get the right success into the market. That's what we call it, winning and qualifying in the market on the basis of your quality products or quality services, including, the startups companies. Now, if you really measure the complexity of scalability, it has very wide, you know, systems which we have to understand one by one. But today I'll be talking briefly about how to really achieve the scalability, and this is important factor for all of us to make it a great success for the organization. Now, success is not just about building the products. I remember one of the author, like Paul Hurst, explains that very narrow. We are thinking about and building the go-to-market strategy, the operations, the sales team, essentially everything that needed to start a new business on day one. Scalability also depends on defining the appropriate business model and creating integration with the core, what you all have decided, particularly for the startups. See, at the heart of scalability is discovering the unit economics of the business model. Unit economics represents a major departure from familiar corporate metrics such as a return on investment, but it underpins the success of famous startups including Dropbox, like Amazon, Zalando. When those companies began, they realized that if their customer acquisition cost, CSE, was lower than the customer lifetime value, LTV, ideally by more than a factor of three, they were effectively printing money. Every dollar spent acquiring customer would soon turn into $3. It's really, it's really great. And so, if you talk about the hybrid startup marketing, then one of the author explains that the goal is to discover unit economics at the level of addressable attributes, meaning that you can unpack your CSE or LTV by channel, by cohort, and by attributes such as age. I add here age, gender, keywords, and geography. For example, when you start exploring that we say the go-to-market strategy for any of your product, it will experiment with 5 ways to describe the startups in a 7-day advertising campaign, for example, and channels as we follow from the leading organizations in India or maybe in the world. The ads reached, a mammoth potential customers and had a click-through rate, and that definitely should be above 51-52%. If that is so, then the average click-through rate of 1, if you think about 0. I say 56 or 55%, then for financial and other things, it will become a very positive indicator. But the company also uses the test to drill down deeper, finding that, for instance, affordable, for example, microinsurance, outperformed microinsurance marketplace. And so, I would like to add here, effective metrics may differ according to the type of stage of hybrid startup. Friends, I remember first American endpoint, which is challenging the status quo of the traditional escrow process. Now it will look at its ability to multiply the efficacy of the employees, what it refers to as creating bionic people. And so, as technology breaks down familiar barriers here, I'd like to add, when technology breaks down the familiar barriers, incumbents need to figure out how to become tech companies before tech companies figure out the incumbent business. And so, friends, finally, the scalability requires ensuring the venture's compatibility with the corporate system. That does not mean the venture startups operating under the corporation's process requirements and regulations. Doing so would undermine the entire point of hybrid startups. Increasing entrepreneurial capabilities and speed of taking the decision would kill the venture outrightly. Friends, it does not mean that venture is built with an eye towards integration with the corporation one day. That's one reason that such ventures are hybrids. They remain tethered to the right parts of the business to permit the exchange of knowledge and learning. Hence, as the technology breaks, I would like to add at the end, as the technology breaks down familiar barriers, incumbents need to figure out how to become tech companies before tech companies figure out the incumbent's business. Now, properly conceived and managed, hybrid startups can create new sources of growth from the company, existing assets, serve as a tool for transformation, transfer insight and capabilities back to the core and help future proof of the business. So this is one briefly. I just wanted to, make it aware all of us that particularly for the startup companies, how they can really get the right success, particularly when they are going to produce a product. Thank you very much.